The world of football arrived in 1958 carrying memories of war, heartbreak, and rebuilding. But when the 1958 FIFA World Cup began in Sweden, nobody knew they were about to witness the birth of a legend. A 17-year-old boy from Brazil was about to change football forever. His name was Pelé. At first, he looked too young, too small, too quiet. But by the end of the tournament, the world would never forget him. The World Cup opened beneath the long Scandinavian summer skies. Sweden's cities filled with flags, songs, and crowds from around the globe. Television was becoming more common now, and for the first time, millions could begin watching football heroes from their living rooms. The game itself was changing. Football was becoming faster, more skillful, more global. And Brazil arrived determined to erase the pain of 1950. 8 years earlier, Brazil had suffered the greatest heartbreak in football history when Uruguay silenced the Maracana. Since then, the wound had never fully healed. The players carried that memory with them into Sweden. But this Brazilian team felt different. They played with rhythm, creativity, and joy. Their style looked almost like dancing. And among them stood several unforgettable stars, the elegant Captain Didi, the brilliant dribbler Garrincha, whose twisted legs somehow made him impossible to defend, and young Pelé, still recovering from injury when the tournament began. At first, Brazil played cautiously, but once Pelé entered the lineup, everything changed. In the quarterfinal against Wales, the teenager scored the only goal of the match, the first World Cup goal of his career. The world took notice. Then came the semi-final against France, led by the tournament's top scorer, Just Fontaine. The match became Pelé's explosion onto the world stage. He scored 3 goals, a hat trick, at just 17 years old. Commentators could barely believe what they were seeing. Brazil won 5-2 and marched into the final. Waiting for them was the host nation, Sweden. The final took place in Stockholm before a roaring crowd dressed in yellow and blue. Most fans hoped to see their home country make history. And at first, it looked possible. Sweden scored early. For a moment, Brazil's nightmare from 1950 seemed ready to return. But then Brazil answered. And suddenly, football transformed into art. Garrincha danced past defenders. Didi controlled the rhythm of the game. The Brazilian attacks flowed like music. Then came the moment the world would remember forever. Pelé received the ball inside the penalty area. With one touch, he lifted it over a defender's head. Before the ball hit the ground, he smashed it into the net. It was audacious, beautiful, impossible. One of the greatest goals in World Cup history. By the final whistle, Brazil had defeated Sweden 5-2. They had won their first World Cup. And when the match ended, Pelé collapsed onto the field crying. He was only 17 years old. Teammates lifted him into the air as cameras flashed around the stadium. A new king of football had arrived. Meanwhile, another record was made during the tournament. France's Just Fontaine scored 13 goals in a single World Cup, a record that still stands today. But despite Fontaine's brilliance, 1958 belonged to Brazil. It belonged to joy. It belonged to beautiful football. And above all, it belonged to Pelé, the teenager who walked into the tournament as an unknown boy and left it as a global legend.